who is basically the representative of your genre, is capable now of providing you that.
So you believe that a secretary of a particular genre should be sufficiently skilled in that genre?
But I believe that since the secretary is the face of the genre, he is capable now of providing people points on which they can improve on the final area.
So on your point of showcasing high quality productions in the institute, don't you believe this already happens to Kaladarshan, AIDS, Film Fest, Theatre Fest, etc.?
The purpose there being that the dedicated which portfolio points and the portfolio productions we're making through the institute, the visibility of them, we're going to be able to enhance in the showcase event, the flagship events which we do have. Additionally, these will be stored as the faces of the individual cultural genres.
So, do you agree that KD and AIDS, etc., do showcase the best in the institute? What is the significant difference you are providing?
The portfolio, what it aims to do is basically construct the faces of every genre, which may or may not be or historically have been featured in the various flagship events. Here we are specifically saying for the institute people, the showcase and flagship events will have the portfolio productions along with the other high quality productions that our institute is able to make.
Alright. What is your purpose on emphasizing on mixed gender themes?
The mixed talent hunt is an informal event. We're trying, my proposal would be to integrate it with the mixed sports event and to promote interaction across batches and across genders.
Right, but it's different in sports, right? Because in sports you have different teams for girls and boys. Except general championships in the institute, every other event already allows for mixed gender teams. What's your marginal benefit?
Well, now to integrate it basically provides me the opportunity to not enhance increase the number of events. Additionally, I'm able to have events like say for institute treasure hunt and basically being able to promote some such informal events, another form of interaction that we're trying to establish.
Alright, so your piece just the same as all the other events have.
In the cultural aspect, it enhances and it allows me the benefit of them being able to engage in events which can go on the gender team. As you rightly find in the last point, you have multiple genres which you can invest.
Deepak, one more point on NSO. How do you plan to extend NSO to postgraduates? And also, do you plan to keep attendance compulsory as it is in status quo?
Yeah, it's already been proposed in sports. NSO sports is already been proposed. और NSO cultures में ऐसा हुआ कि I have talked to many countries. Firstly, they are interested in doing this. Secondly, I have talked to GSCulturalAffairs and वो उनके academic curriculum में जैसे UGs के में होता है. On the similar way, if they elected, if they wanted, it will be in their academic curriculum. और उसके बाद ही उनके transcript में आएगा.
So this will be on a person-to-person level and not uniformly across all regions.
Yes, person.
Alright, and you will be providing grades as well.
Yeah. The same system which happens right.
Alright. How do you plan to obtain permission to extend the National Sports Organization to cultures? Consider a similar proposal was made before and revoked.
Yeah, so I reached National Sports Organization. अब इसमें already music exist करता है. I'm extending the wings to dramatics, fine arts, film and media, and dance. And your point about extending it to the permission. So basically, मेरी permission authority से बात हो गई है for that, and they agreed for that.
Okay, fair enough. But what specific purpose do you believe the NSO will serve, which is not already being served by the School of Culture?
Yeah, so NSO में हम लोग एक basic exposure provide करेंगे हर genre का. While School of Culture will be dedicatedly catering a particular art form in that particular genre. Secondly, School of Culture जो होगा that will be paid और वहीं पे NSO culture जो होगा वो free of cost होगा. Thirdly, School of Culture में हम लोग पूरे institute को cater कर रहे हैं. NSO के through हम लोग PG freshman और PG freshman cater कर रहे हैं.
Right. So are you saying that now School of Culture is A, going to be more advanced, and B, don't you think it's probably better to make School of Culture more free of cost as I have proposed in my manifesto?
Yeah, so yeah, it is going to be advanced. Number two, basically institute अभी funding provide नहीं करता है इतने बड़े level पे. NSO culture की वजह से NSO music में होता है. We have paid tutors on the same lines as we have studied professional paid tutors in dramatics, fine arts, film and media.
So you're saying School of Culture, which is way more accessible to way more people, is now going to have only advanced courses.
Right. So basically ऐसा होगा कि हम लोग beginner से start करेंगे and it will be a 3-month program जिसमें कि beginners, intermediate and advanced होंगे.
Alright. So is School of Culture
I just said NSO Culturals एक basic exposure provide करेगा उस genre का. School of Cult completely एक particular art form में, for example से अगर NSO Culturals है तो उसमें dancing में सिर्फ उनको basic सिखाया जाएगा dancing का throughout the session. वहीं पे School of Cult एक particular dance form में जैसे Bollywood होता है उसमें specifically target करेगा for 3 months.
So Chitra, in your manifesto you stated a point of partial refund under the improved Pathshala initiative. And during campaigning basically you suggested that the amount people are able to basically refund and the follow-up rate we currently have, जो हमारे Pathshala classes का follow-up rate रहता है, people generally follow up to the 6th or 7th class. So further you providing that aid with an incentive for. Additionally, reducing the amount of money that has been guaranteed to the instructor. How do you propose to fulfill that?
Alright, clearly you haven't heard my campaign because this is not what I've been saying. So what I have been saying is the dean in principle has already agreed to offer free cult classes. There was a proposal to offer cult creation which in principle the dean had already agreed to, right? But I do believe that something like cult creation cannot exist parallelly to something that's a paid class. And I'd like to incorporate the benefits of cult creation, which is basically that it's free, into the already existing system of Pathshala. So the money that we're going to refund is not going to be deducted from the instructor's fee, something that's going to come from the Institute Cultural Council and something that in principle the dean has already agreed to fund.
So as per the current numbers of the previous Pathshala version, that amount basically comes up to around 80,000 as per the current numbers. So what you're saying is rather than reducing the overall price of the cultural classes that you're offering, you'll be reinvesting it through the Institute Cultural budget and providing it back to the people.
Yes, it's really simple. They're going to get a partial refund with their classes. That amount you've calculated is for entire effort, but what's your question?
That rather than reinvesting it and making the classes the fees a bit less, you're rather reinvesting it and giving it back to the people as a refund. Motivating them further to basically the follow-up rate, you're not correcting that, and additionally you're basically using the cultural budget to repay.
Consider that I recommend that you read my point. It's like partial refund of classes attended, which means if you do attend that class, you get the refund, by which I'm actually incentivizing people to continue to attend.
You then mentioned in the first point that under the core cult activities, you basically mentioned that how horizons are made for people who do not wish to indulge in core cult activities and then have followed it for it with like various informal events as well as various other events. So you do not judge them to be core cult activities.
Okay, this would define how I'm talking about core cult activities. For me, this defines huge amounts of time, energy, and other forms of investment that you require to currently do an event, say, such as gyrations or such as AIDS, right? Where it requires several days of practice. So the idea behind Horizons and Outreach is that even if you don't want to participate in cultural activities in a more intensive way, you can come in, walk in, watch a cultural showcase, spend 1.5 hours, have some leisure, and then move out. That's the idea behind Horizons.
So Deepak, in your first initiative, you basically mentioned the School of Cult and introduction of the School of Cult as an initiative. Firstly, isn't this an extension? Secondly, how do you propose to make this an initiative? If the feedback is the initiative, shouldn't then be like a basic restructure?
Yeah, so it's completely different from the existing structure of Pathshala. तो ये 3 महीने के लिए होगा, number 1. Number 2, we have monthly feedback system. Number 3, at the end of the 3 months, we are providing a special platform to all the attendees of the school. That is first stage.
Okay.
And it's completely different in this context.
Okay. So on the feedback front, you're basically saying it will be a monthly module,
right.
and your modules will basically have a monthly tenureship to them, or monthly effectivity, right?
Right.
So how is the monthly modules more effective than the current modules, which defines all the 10 sessions, which continue from a period of January 17 to April 10 as in the present Pathshala?
पहली बात तो जो आपने स्ट्रक्चर बताया किसी क्लासेस में होता है, सब आर्ट फॉर्म्स में नहीं होता है. नंबर 1. नंबर 2, ऑब्वियसली वी बी हैविंग डेमो क्लासेस. एंड नंबर 3, टाइमली जो सेक्रेटरी होगा वी कीप चेक ऑन द क्वालिटी. हम लोग मंथली फीडबैक ले रहे हैं, वो रिटर्न फॉर्मेट में होगा, जस्ट टू टेल द यूजर्स की रिटर्न फॉर्मेट में बच्चों की तरफ से आया.
On the back page, you mentioned a point of lights workshop. Now, this is something you proposed before mainland GC as well, and proposed
सो उस टाइम पे प्रॉब्लम ये हुआ था कि हम जिस प्रोफेशनल से बात कर रहे थे वो उस टाइम पे फ्री नहीं थे। अभी सैम कहने वाला जो कि आवान जो ओपन अगर अपने यहाँ पे फ्री हुआ था उसके लाइट डायरेक्टर थे, उनसे मेरी बात हो गई एंड ही हैज अग्रीड टू टेक द वर्कशॉप इन द नेक्स्ट सेमेस्टर।
But you had a professional who was also willing to take it in the previous semester when you last proposed it.
No, it was not fair that time.
But you proposed to keep the workshop.
I did, but it was not fair that time.
You proposed to keep a workshop after consultation with the professional, and thereafter you cancel it, citing reason that the professional is not free and taking it to the next semester. And then again you are not able to ensure it. So how is it our assurance in this general secretary tenure?
Firstly, I didn't propose when I got that मैं वर्कशॉप करवा दूंगा अगर प्रोफेशनल्स मिले तो मैं उसके बेसिस पे बोला था, क्योंकि प्रोफेशनल्स नहीं मिले इसलिए मैं नहीं करवा पाया। I was not free at that time. अभी he is free in the next semester, so I'm proposing at that time. And it's like the sound both.
Just a final point there, you basically proposed to keep a workshop without having a professional already on board to keep.
Sorry?
You proposed to keep a workshop without already having a professional on board to keep it when you proposed it in January.
No, I didn't propose it my manifesto last year. I didn't.
But you had informed the cultural councils and they already know about it.
मैंने कल कॉम में ये बोला था कि अगर हमको प्रोफेशनल्स मिलते हैं तो हम वर्कशॉप करवा देंगे before midnight. I didn't propose it in my manifesto. Just like you mentioned a point about providing in the manifesto. So how is it different from Freshiza, Sophie Cultures and the flagship events of all the clubs?
Right. So this is the event that I proposed for mentorship, right? And I also under the same heading of mentorship have also proposed to extend Sophie Cultures. Because I believe when you want to tackle one problem, such as mentorship, you can't have just one event, right? I agree Sophie Culture and Freshiza exist, I'll tell you how it's different. But the point being to tackle any kind of problem, you need a multi-layered solution. And this is just one of the points that I proposed, right? So as you can see, I've also spoken about extending Sophie Cultures. How is this different from Freshiza? Very basic ways, right? Because Freshiza only caters to freshmen of the institute and also it happens earlier on in the first semester. The idea being this not only happens later on but caters to various different people in the institute.
Okay,
I've already conducted one such event under debate in the previous year. We saw an exceptional participation of more than 30 people who have never been to debate, who are not freshmen.
Okay, what about flagship events? And AIDS, KD, in some ages, नहीं होती क्या?
Absolutely.
You should be knowing कि it was there in the last year GS manifesto, peer-to-peer teaching, mentorship program.
One second. Peer-to-peer teaching is completely different from what I've proposed. Maybe you should read my manifesto. But the idea being that some events like AIDS, it does offer implicit mentorship, and I completely agree. So, as far as mentorship is concerned, it's not about having one event that offers mentorship. It's about having a multi-layered approach. And I think this one is different from all the other mentorship events that offer mentorship implicitly, because I'd like to introduce this concept of walk-in mentorship. Right? For example, in AIDS, when you have to take part in AIDS, you need to give people a minimum commitment of about 15 days, right? But to take part in this dance mentorship event, you just have to turn up for about 3 hours to get an opportunity to network with seniors and also understand what the journey is.
What about Pathshala? It's already existing.
Again, Pathshala
प्रोफेशनल्स आगे सिखा रहे हैं, और सीनियर से सिखा रहे हैं, so which is better?
Keep your mic थोड़ा पीछे कर.
Alright, so again, Deepak, you fail to distinguish between various kinds of mentorship events and out of the impression that mentorship events can only be of a certain kind, right? So Pathshala is actually a semester-long class, whereas the event that I've proposed is just a weekend event to serve as probably a starter to all the other events that are going to follow.
तुम खुद बोल रहे हो कि ये एक इवेंट पे नहीं हो सकता, रोटी मेंटरशिप से इवेंट्स पे नहीं हो सकती है, अगेन सेइंग कि वो सिर्फ वीकेंड्स पे होगा. पाठशाला इज ऑलरेडी ऑन वीकेंड बाय प्रोफेशनल्स.
Okay, I'm just going to say this very slowly. Program is a one weekend event, right? Requiring you to pay no fees and offer no commitment. Pathshala is a semester-long class and hence is completely different.
Freshiza, 2 weekends, Sophie Cultures, 1 complete month, flagship events throughout the semester.
Again, Freshiza is for freshmen, Sophie Culture is for Sophies.
Right.
But moving beyond that point, right, I think the kind of activities that I've proposed in my manifesto is different because you really require no kinds of preparation involved coming for this event, right? For example, there'll be a 1-minute choreo involved, and people who are interested in dance can just step in, come in for about 3 hours, and get a feel of how it is to network with seniors and be part of that job.
Start.
तुमने मेंशन किया इंस्टीट्यूट कल्चरल डेटाबेस, तुम कैसे इसको कलेक्ट करोगे? नंबर 1, टाइमलाइन क्या होगा? नंबर 2, बूस्टर सेक्रेटरीज तुम्हारे लिए क्यों हेल्प करेंगे?
Okay, the current institute culture database जो हमारे hostel में exist करता है exists between the ranges of 40% to 95% as extensively in some hostels. The database which we are trying to create is going to be an integration of the various databases. We are going to promote the centralized feeling of the hostels to create this database by offering them to do workshops in their hostel, bringing our institute workshops with them. And additionally, the culture database also facilitates in finding of like rare talents which the institute has not been able to find in amongst the 8,000 strong student community. So that is the main target of the institute culture database.
Okay, so you mentioned कि how so exist करता है, right? It's not there in LC, it's not there in Excel, it's not there in HQ. हम लोग कैसे target करोगे? LC में
the procedure has started in the starting of the semester actually verified with the PGs and their hostel council as well. Further, if an hostel backs out or does not basically allow us to basically use their database, what we're going to do is we're going to invest our 31 strong cultural team to basically facilitate us in this process. In whichever hostels deny it.
What is the structure of weekender? Number 2, and will the curriculum agree for that?
The weekender is basically taking the highly competitive of GCs, the highly competitive edge of GCs through various events across the genres, basically not increasing thereby a huge number of GCs. We only propose to integrate the current GCs which already exist and introduction of few GCs, serving basically two sets of people. The first set of people is unfortunately कुछ GCs में opportunity नहीं मिल पाती क्योंकि their hostels are able to adjust कि level थोड़ा high रखते हैं उसका. And secondly, to cater people who might not have won a GC and might not have basically won points for their hostels, but their level and their individual supremacy is something that should be rewarded.
Space in the current calendar to put all the GC.
As per my tentative calendar, this will be scheduled for the second weekend of January. That's where I intend to propose it. And further, this will provide me a 9-day buffer between A's and a 10-day buffer between the start of the semester.
January में इस बार already 5 GCs थे. You are introducing some more.
What the weekender GC is basically doing is taking our GC structure, the GC structure events, and is able to incorporate all those GCs into one weekend. So in that process, where I am facilitated is a majority of my time in the cultural calendar is also open up, and additionally, I am not investing a lot of like resources on a hostel-like basis because these are mostly low preparation GCs without a participation.
Execution is culture project. किसको cater कर रहे हो? Number 1, number 2 is already happening through Pachana. Number 3, जो लोग winter vacation में आते होते हैं, they participate in MI, they participate in Tech Fest, they already have some projects and academic projects. Why will they be a part of a culture project?
So who we are targeting are experienced or like exposed sophomores in various cultural activities. This is for the culturally passionate and people who place cultures as a priority. And what we are enabling them or what we are allowing them to do is basically pursue their cultures and their passion for cultures as a under a direct professional or under an internship. It basically guarantees you that level of exposure to take you from a level which you attain in the institute to a much higher level. And that's what
Actually, you asked about NSO cultures. So I think NSO stands for National Sports Organization. But you should be knowing कि NSO में music भी already भी होता है. And till 2006 इसमें dramatics भी होता था. So expanding the wings to all the genres which are possible. Firstly, and secondly, you asked about PG. So I already talked to academic council and they have agreed कि इसको हम लोग academic curriculum में डाल सकते हैं PGs के भी if they want.
The idea there basically being the timeline of this would be basically extended from April to August 10, and we leave the selection criteria with the various councils ready to offer the project. So from our side, we will be able to, and we would explicitly be involved in the process of getting as many projects and be able to facilitate as many sophomores as we can.
Alright, so you're saying in a scenario where at least 30% of the sophomores, around 200 students sign up for this, you will be able to provide quality cultural internships, that too in the winter to all these sophomores?
That is our target, to be able to cater to as many people as we can, and through our extensive efforts over the 4-month period, we will try to continue from that.
Right, so you're basically saying it's possible to do both. Give as many quality internships as possible. Firstly, I don't think that's feasible, but moving on, will this be conducted by professionals or by people from these professions?
The project. These will be offered by professionals from outside.
Alright, and why do you think they will offer these internships to students in IIT? Will you be paying them or will they do it free of cost?
The internships these people already offer us some of the examples I'm going to state after the election debate do already cater to a lot of students who basically have the passion for cultures and do want to engage themselves in a prolonged project to provide them exposure. So that is the main aim, to be able to facilitate the people with real passion and to be able to provide them with an opportunity.
Alright, again that does not answer the question that I asked you. I said what incentive does any professional organization have to come and take 200 students in IIT who are not going to be culturally oriented in the future, more likely than not, and who are possibly not even very good at what they do right now. So what incentive does any professional organization have to come and give 200 internships in the institute?
A, there are already companies looking for such internships, and B, this is for the highly passionate cultural people who want to invest their time for once being in a category institution that it is not facilitated for us, but we're able to provide them with a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to expose them through that level of professionalism in a cultural background, and that is what we aim to promote through the cultural projects.
You've spoken about online learning, right? Where you say you'd like to provide videos prepared by students in IIT. Firstly, if it's by students in IIT, don't you think it's possible? It's a better idea to just provide a platform where they can interact with each other, such as my program open. But moreover, right, I'd like to say this, when online so many good quality and free videos are available, why stress on the need for these videos to be made by IIT students?
Really, you understood the structure wrong. The structure basically demarcates that people from IIT who have pursued the self-learning process and the video material and the PDFs they refer to, there is going to be a structured and organized set of that. In addition, people who learn this have faced various like hurdles. उन्होंने जो यानी गलतियां की हैं, उन्होंने जो फेस किया है ये सब सीखते हुए, उसको basically उनके personal experience को incorporate करवाना to make that learning process much more feasible. एक बाहरी material they refer to
Alright, Deepa, what is the purpose of having centralized auditions for all inter-college fests?
Yeah, it's just for freshies. जो freshies में जो slots होते हैं, मतलब 3 में 2-3 freshies देते हैं. So लोगों के लिए just to make freshie process fair for freshies, I'm introducing this thing.
Alright, firstly I believe that happens already, but never mind, assuming it doesn't, do you realize that most journals attend up to 5 competitions per semester? So will you be having multiple selection processes for each of these competitions in each of these journals?
Yeah, we will grade for freshies.
Alright, so you think it's feasible to have 7 into 5 selection processes happening in a semester? Never mind, moving on. Who will be the judges for this? Like people from the institute?
Yeah, club seniors.
Club seniors.
Yeah, I'm saying freshies के लिए होगा, club seniors के लिए auditions.
Alright, firstly I'd like to say this. Don't you believe that formal auditions are a bit too competitive for freshies, and we should probably have an attitude where we promote as many freshies going as possible, and maybe even give chance to those freshies who don't constantly make the upper cut. So we should not have possibly a too competitive atmosphere for freshies. Do you agree?
See, the thing is, we do have an upper cap on the number of freshies we are taking. Okay, so we can't have different participation for that. Number two, and making the thing fair. अभी जो 3 लोग 4 लोग जो लिए आते हैं वो क्लब के थ्रू लिए जाते हैं. जो बाकी लोग होते हैं, even instead of being interested, उन लोगों को participation नहीं हो पाता. So for making things fair and doing this thing centralization, especially for freshies.
So basically, don't you believe that if you're talking about any kind of bias that already exists in the club, the seniors who are selecting these freshies will have that bias anyway? A. And secondly, about too many freshies, right? So the idea I was trying to drive home, if there is an absolutely brilliant freshie, will you constantly send him to every single interfest college, or would you like to give chance to other freshmen? And if you would like to give a chance to others, where is your policy of auditions fit?
Yeah, you talk about कि कुछ फ्रेशिes को अभी जो हम लोग वापस कर लेके जाएंगे, अभी वो चीज हो रही है. अभी 3-4 फ्रेशिes को कंटिन्यूअसली एक जॉनर में बाहर फेस्ट में लेके जाया जा रहा है. अगर सेंट्रलाइजेशन होंगे सबको इक्वल फेयर चांस मिलेगा उसमें जाने का. आइडिया में शामिल होंगे.
Alright, I still believe that because you Gull Trophy standards?
Yeah, they will.
Alright, so you believe that if a certain individual does exceptionally well, it should surpass the peak efforts of an entire hostel?
What happens in net, what happens in debate, what happens in finance?
Alright, that's exactly my point.
Right. So, abhi group GC में just recognize individual talent, just to give them a chance to earn some points for his questions, जो कि वो लोग otherwise नहीं ले पाते हैं, providing this service.
So, Achal, you mentioned a point about GC judging and how you ensure transparency by displaying the score sheet. So, you as a council member already know कि कुछ judges में ऐसा होता है कि the judges A do not stick to the judging sheets and like the basic criteria which we name them because they are thorough professionals which we hooking on from outside and we are not allowed to basically question their judging authority. And secondly, to be able to do this, you have to ensure that the judges do not feel somebody who's been scored ahead is the absolute winner, which has happened in a few GCs in the past. So how do you basically propose to ensure that?
Alright, so this is a really holistic process where I'm going to expect the secretaries get in touch with their potential judges and discuss the criteria amongst which these judges would be comfortable judging in the first place, right? Because I do believe that if you are going to release certain criteria on the third form, that too with numeric figures as was done this year, the best way you can award the time and effort people take into molding their performance based on those parameters is to actually respect the fact that they have done that and ensure that they are actually judged according to this criteria, right? So my basic point is this. You tell people you're going to be judged by certain criteria. The next best thing to do is to assure that those certain criteria are stuck by. As far as judges being professionals are concerned, I think it's possible to coordinate with them.
You fail to answer the second part of the question. If you could concentrate on that, how do you ensure that basically the judges who also experiment post having the score sheet and the score sheet might not be the best result that they're able to put out there and the final result might differ from what the score sheet submission come up to. How do you plan to ensure that that does not happen?
Alright, it's really simple, right? Many of the reasons right now that the score sheet does not match up with what the judges eventually, the results the judges eventually put out is because right now the judges judge by different parameters that are actually on the score sheet, right? So when you had a certain film GC being complained against, the reason people were upset was not because that GC won, that entry won. It was because they felt it was not judged according to certain criteria. So mine is a two-stage process to ensure that the criteria being put out by the Culcom is actually justified.
Okay, that might not be followed completely. That. Secondly, you offer to do inter-IT card and pursue it after like getting the remaining permissions for it. Your logistics in your mind and how do you aim to bring the remaining IITs who you already contacted the current council on board with that?
How do I aim to bring the remaining IITs on board by constantly being in touch with them, coordinating with them and convincing them?
Something you suggesting which has not been followed this time?
Something which I'm saying is ongoing this time.
And the proposal has been there for some time. We proposed it to the remaining IITs and it's not being followed up till now. And you're saying you'll be constantly keeping a check with them and trying to bring them on board. Basically, constant contacting till they're persuaded to come on board.
Alright. Firstly, we're going to go ahead and do this even if we have the few IITs that are on board agreed with this as well, right? So I think there's a marginal benefit of going ahead even if all the IITs don't agree. But moreover, this is an ongoing process, so I don't believe you can fully question the success or the failure of the process when the process has been completed.
Okay. So Deepak, you mentioned a point of professional opportunities for GC winners. What are your direct awardings for the winners of the black GC?
Right, so you're talking about the question, right?
So the rewards for the GC winner.
So in it, we have already talked to Malhar people, और वो लोग हमारे यहाँ जो winners होंगे, they will be given a chance to set the quiz for Malhar, जो यहाँ के winners होंगे.
How are you assuming that performing at Malhar is a professional opportunity?
No, it is. अभी इसमें example होता है जो Malhar winner थे, उनको opportunity दी गई थी quiz set करने के लिए इस साल Malhar में, right?
And you're judging that to be a professional opportunity. Professional, Deepak, is the key word here.
Right. So basically, जो Malhar का quiz होता है, उसको professional set करते हैं. They are giving us a chance to do that. I don't think it's professional in that context.
In like historic terms, some Malhar quizzes have had their great opinion. But moving on, you suggested an online portal to basically ensure that SAC rooms are booked and SAC inventory is provided. What do you do in a scenario where the SAC room is already occupied, as in the practical scenario, where you
Right. So अगर system exist करता है उसमें तीन बड़े प्रॉब्लम हैं. The system is linear, the system is difficult, the system के बारे में awareness नहीं होगा. Right. So अगर online booking portal होगा, then we are clear, it will be very much clear on the portal कि कौन सा slot free है. Secondly, क्योंकि we will be filling the form online, and secondly we will be approving it from this year. अगर event होगा, तो secondly won't be approved. But we are talking about the damage control.
So I think he has a different question.
The question is a bit different. How do you account for the equipment or the instruments or the room is already occupied? And further, the process you're saying is linear. There's a basic process of basically being able to fill up a diary in SAC. So basically, you facilitate the process through your room, but you have no idea what is currently there in the music room or your lookup or the various rooms which are offered like to make in the SAC structure. Additionally, no one from the room can monitor what is the current usage. As more or less times it might already be occupied or the lecture might be exceeded. How do you ensure the proposal?
Yeah, so you are talking about it is preoccupied. So I am putting this separately in between it. अगर एक फॉर्म फिल करेंगे, किसी को अगर स्लॉट चाहिए कैमरे का, तो वो लोग फॉर्म फिल करेंगे, वो सेक्रेटरी जाएगा सेक्रेटरी के पास, अगर सेक्रेटरी इसको अप्रूव करता है, तभी वो ऑफिस के पास जाएगा. ऐसे उसको अप्रूव करेंगे, लेट्स गो. अबाउट द डैमेज कंट्रोल, सो ऑलरेडी पॉलिसीज है फॉर डैमेज कंट्रोल. अगर डैमेज कंट्रोल होगा तो वी क्लियरली मेंशन इट ऑन द पोर्टल कि अगर डैमेज होता है तो देन वी पे दिस फाइन और एक्सक्यूशन ऑफ अपाइस सेकंड चार्ज अभी सेम स्ट्रक्चर फॉलो होगा एंड सो ऑनलाइन सिस्टम. दोस्तों my first question is about इंट्रा आईडी. My first question is it really required considering the fact कि हम लोग मोनिटी को होस्ट करते हैं which is Asia's largest college cultural festival. Secondly, if it is really required then structure क्या होगा इसका especially performing arts.
Alright, I'll answer the second part first. For performing arts, as it was agreed by all the performing arts secretaries on this current year's council, we are going to have recorded videos of all the performers. For example, in dramatic we have a dramatic record and in music we have a music record, right?
Yeah, so don't you think हम लोग interactive sports भी एक बार एक किसी को 100 मीटर रेस में लास्ट में एक क्लिक देंगे and it will be hosted online.
Sure, why don't you go and suggest that to the sports general secretary?
Because it's not possible, it's not the way it is being conducted.
Alright, then I wonder why this year's council was on board with the idea there. Never mind, I'm going to answer the first part of your question, is it required or not? So, I believe it's a good initiative in terms of not only getting the IITs together, but also in terms of, providing us a kind of legitimate avenue, which will probably be a very secure avenue.
So do you think MI is not legitimate right now? Do you think MI is not legitimate right now?
Let me complete. So, there has been a kind of clampdown that we've seen from deans, professors in terms of us going to inter-college fest, right? And I think, firstly, in the near future, it is quite plausible that this online activity actually translates into an offline activity.
That means yeah, my next question is about Mandali. You mentioned about Mandali convener. So just want to ask you, what was the vision of Mandali? History क्या है Mandali का? Mandali ने कितने performances दिए हैं? Just clear it.
Mandali was inaugurated to promote street. I think you should know this better than me.
Yeah, I do. I'm asking, you are standing for the post of General Secretary for Cultural Affairs, right? You should be knowing उसका vision क्या था Mandali का. My next question is about future film. जो mention किया है. So क्या structure रहेगा उसका? इसको तुम cater कर रहे हो? टेक्निकलिटीज क्या है उसकी और timeline क्या हम लोगों को कुछ स्पेसिफिक अवार्ड भी अलाउ करना है. So how will we be proposing it for 7 people, 7 freshies, जबकि हम लोग पहले सिर्फ 8 लोगों को देते.
Well, the point here is you have currently 880 UG freshmen and you have 250 PG freshmen. In a way, it is a very ineffective system and it is not comparable to the cult color, as we already have the cult freshman of the year and the genre freshman of the year is the second most coveted award that you get. So to be able to promote it on the lines, if you want to draw color in the cult color, it's a special election in that regard. And in that aspect, to be able to cater to people, 7 UGs and 7 PGs across the different genres, in the coming time, which the number expands to 1400. So I feel that the current system is ineffective and this must be proposed because there is a certain injustice being done.
Okay. So my next question about flexes. Don't you think it comes under hostel affairs?
It really comes under hostel affairs in a scenario where they do not agree to do it. Though I have checked with the various GSCulturalAffairs and the PH office, my main purpose of writing that is we are responsible for around 50,000 of direct investment into the institute, and we can ourselves make an initiative and ourselves also try to facilitate this process of basically being reused in our events, just like we did in Kaladarshan, just like we're doing in PAF, and basically expanding it throughout the year.
It's already being done in PAF. My next question about Hall of Fame. ये हमें GS करके इन्वेस्टमेंट होता है. क्यों नहीं हुआ? And why did you do it in your time in your job?
It's untrue. The teacher genre, you visit musicIIT.com, anyone here can, will basically find the online Hall of Fame. Additionally, it has not been done. What we aim to establish is basically preceding the IT museum, which is already been proposed and basically awaits a final allocation of space. What we're trying to promote here is online, keeping the online structure going, and additionally, in addition to that, what we need to do is probably propose for like a few boards or a few like basic notifications that allows people to basically go back in time and realize who all have done what, who all have been rewarded and achieved what has been achieved in the cultural genres.
Alright, I just like to complete my point on why I wish to reveal the score sheets of various genres and various species, right? So I think what's been happening, and we can all agree with that, is we currently do already give numeric percentages of various criteria against which people are going to be judged, right? I think in such a scenario where everyone already agrees there should exist some kind of objectivity, the best we can do next is to ensure that objectivity is upheld to the best extent as possible. I think what generally happens is the reason judges choose not to judge according to a certain criteria is A, they are not aware of those criteria beforehand, B, and more importantly, they are not in agreement with those criteria, right? So I think when as a secretary you put forward certain criteria and you bring forward certain judges, you should ensure there's a coherence between those criteria and that judge, right? To ensure the judge eventually does judge upon the criteria. It can be easily done, as I already did in my debate secretary tenure, where I released the score sheets of all my 5 GCs and I spoke to judges in advance on what they would be comfortable judging with and hence decided the criteria.
All right.